Hey everyone, my name's Sarah and welcome to garden tour number 12. I feel like we're in a really funny spot with the garden right now just because, well, let me explain. So we're kind of at this weird place where I'm starting to put things in for fall, but my summer stuff hasn't really been producing too much. I've been getting lots of beans this week, and I've got my first big harvest of tomatoes this week, which was great. But other things like my peppers, so it's like this pepper plant here, it was loaded with peppers and now it's just not. So I was dealing with blossom end rot a lot on my peppers, and I think it was from uneven watering, but I don't know, it just has stopped producing. Maybe they're determinate. I honestly have no idea. My other pepper plants seem to be doing okay. So you can see, here's one, it's starting to turn color. And this one is loaded with purple ones, but there's so little. It's been kind of cool to see some of my California Wonder peppers turning red this week. But the freaking frustrating thing is, so I picked one that I thought was ready and I was so excited, and then cut it open, there's like 5 earwigs inside of it. It was so gross. There is a cricket somewhere. There's a cricket somewhere in here. He has got a lot to say. So yeah, pole beans. My Blue Lake pole beans have been doing a ton. I've actually tied some off, so there's some, just kind of around this. This is all one plant right here. Only a couple plants have come up and over the top, and so I'm letting that one plant go completely to maturity. Something about pole beans is that as long as you're picking them, they will produce. But now that I'm not gonna pick from that one stem anymore, at least not as much, that one is gonna stop producing and eventually die back, probably before the rest of them. But I used all my Blue Lake pole bean seeds, so I wanted to make sure that I had some left. You can see here we've got peas. Actually, I think all of my peas have sprouted. Here's more and more. Excellent. Let's check out the beets. So I planted beets in here. I don't know if this is a beet or not. I'm assuming it is because I planted it. Also, here's a little nasturtium coming up. I also planted some turnips and more beets over here, but I don't see anything. My zucchini plant is just, isn't that the saddest zucchini plant you've ever seen? It's honestly kind of embarrassing, the zucchini plant, because like, zucchinis are like that thing, everyone can grow zucchini and everyone's overrun with zucchini, and I've always had that too with zucchini, and this year it's just the cucumber beetles have just totally stunted it, and I haven't got a single zucchini at all. So last week I mentioned my sunflowers. Look, this one had a few on it last week, not anymore. That something was eating them, and I thought it was a little yellow finch I've seen around, but since then I have found little chipmunks climbing up my sunflowers. So it's actually chipmunks who have been eating them. I really want to save the seeds though, so I'm hoping that one of them will kind of wilt away and I can just cut it off the plant before a chipmunk gets to it. Chipmunks have also been eating, I'm assuming it's chipmunks. They've also been eating my tomatillos, which is really sad because neither I or my nephew have been able to have any tomatillos lately, and I'll show you why I think this. There are tomatillo husks everywhere. There's so many, like, can you see? Under the plant, there's so many, and I find them around the beds. Like, especially this one, I've found them like in with the peppers. Actually, this one didn't get eaten, but I think it's probably green. Yeah. Not ripe yet. My Chinese red noodle beans are growing really well. They are all on their second set of leaves this week, which is great. Last week it was just the first set. And I've got some really pretty zinnias. I've actually never had zinnias in my garden before, and I really like them. Here's my other tomatillo plant. And you'll see it's just like so big. But you know what? I'm kind of thinking of pulling my tomatillo plants out. And the reason I think I'm gonna do it is just because I haven't had any in weeks, even though they've got tons of fruit on them, because the chipmunks keep getting them, and I'd really like to start making more room in my garden for fall crops. But I can't do that because my garden is just starting to produce. And I don't know, maybe I just need to plan for blank spaces in the garden so that I have room in the fall. But I don't know, it was just a really cold spring, so everything had a very late start and everything is producing late. So it could just be that as well. I've never planted a fall garden before, so I've never really paid attention to when I need to rip plants out or when they stop producing. I just go with it until it's over. So I think just because I'm not getting anything from my tomatillos, I might just rip them out so I can plant other stuff. Now, I don't talk about this much, but beside my tomatillo plant, this one, I actually have a few celery plants. I have 3 right here. There is another one over there. It's right there, but it never really has taken off. It's very small. But these ones, look at, someone has had a feast here. I just don't know when I'm supposed to start blanching them. This one has, oh no, this one's going to seed. Crap. So I honestly just have no idea when I'm supposed to start blanching celery, because they seem too thin and small to me, but now one is going to flower, so maybe I missed the boat. I don't know, I have no idea. If you've been following along, you'll know that that was a very last minute decision. I actually tried celery last year, epically failed, and swore I would not do it this year. And I needed a break from celery. But then I was at a garden center and I saw celery starts and I thought, oh, I'll just start them from starts. Maybe it's just because I tried doing it from seed. So that's why the celery's in the flower bed and not with the other vegetables, because I literally had no room left for my celery. So I had to just find more space. I feel like every gardener has been there. This is so embarrassing. Here are my dragon tongue bush beans. Still in the pots. I'm gonna plant them in there where the radishes used to be, and the carrots. I was gonna fill this whole area with carrots, but then it was just getting too hot, so I thought I'm not gonna waste my time trying to do more carrots, and I will just save that spot for fall. And so that's where my bush beans are gonna go. I've been telling myself for 2 weeks that I'm gonna put those bush beans in the ground, and I still have not. I've got more tomatoes blushing. I have a whole big thing of tomatoes in my house right now that I gotta make sauce out of. I feel like this ladder is always in my garden tours, and it's just because those posts are there because I got a shade cloth this year, and the shade cloth has been so helpful. It's really been awesome to use in the garden, but I need the ladder to get up. Also, I have to use the ladder to get a lot of the beans because this, our like trellis pergola archway thing, is way too tall. When we made it, we're like, oh, this is perfect because everything's gonna hang down and then there'll be lots of room for like my husband and my brother to walk through. No, well, yes, but it would work better if it was like cattle panels or something with bigger holes, because the chicken wire, all of the beans across the top, so all the beans that are growing up there are sitting on top of it and not coming, well, some of them are coming down, but most of them are not. So I have to climb up the ladder to harvest the beans that are up there. And there's a lot that I haven't harvested because I haven't gone up the ladder over there in like 5 or 6 days. Now this is the most exciting thing from this week. Oh, that massive sunflower finally bloomed and it's awesome. It's just huge. It's literally so huge, so tall, and the sunflower itself is so big. It's really cool. I think so. I planted most of the sunflowers I planted are a cutting variety, so they weren't gonna get they don't get super tall, which I did on purpose because the beds are already raised. But I did throw in a few mammoth sunflower seeds, and I think that must be the only one that took off because it is mammoth. This is the stalk, like the stem of it, and look, it's like that's big. It's like the size of my wrist. Like, look it down at the bottom. It's a tree. It's huge. Also, the sunflower that we had to cut a hole in for has also bloomed, and it's beautiful. Actually, there's a bee on it right now. Okay, what else to show you? Oh, okay, something really sad happened this week. So I went to my cottage for a few days and left my brother in charge of the garden, which has happened a few times, and he does a great job. He's really good at taking care of the garden. But for some reason I came home and my onions are all dead. I don't know why. Like, I don't know why all the stems have just gone brown and dried up, but oh well. First the tomatillos murdered my red onions, and now my yellow onions are gone too, so I guess we're not getting any onions this year. Oh well. The first year I had a garden, which I don't know if I've ever told the story of like how I first started my first garden and like got into it, but I did grow onions that year. Had no idea what I was doing. Everything I got from sets, I just threw the whole set in the ground all together and didn't separate them out. So I had this like cluster of onions, and I didn't know about storing onions or drying onions. I had no idea. So I just I would just pick them fresh and use them, which you can totally do, but I had a lot go to waste because I didn't use them all. Oh well. Okay, I think this is the last thing I have to show, and it is my carrots and parsnips are starting to germinate, so that's exciting. We put this wire over top because somebody was digging around in the bed. Honestly, there was one spot that was always dug and always wet, and so I think something, either a cat or a squirrel, was using my bed, my little carrot box, as a litter box. So you can see I've put like boards over the rest of it that haven't been used yet, and that's just to protect the soil from critters, but also from the sun, so the sun doesn't bleach out all the goodness from like the compost and the soil before I can use it, because I'm going to be succession sowing. So I've got some there, and then probably this week I'll put some in here, and then some in there, and then some there. So the goal is to have 4 successions of carrots and parsnips. I actually read after I had planted them that carrots and parsnips are apparently not good to plant together. I really am into companion planting. I find it really interesting, so I'm actually surprised I didn't do a quick search before. But it makes sense why they wouldn't be good together, because they're so similar as a vegetable that I'm sure all the pests that go after them are the same. So I'm assuming that that's why it's not recommended to plant parsnips and carrots together. But because it's the fall, and by the time they really get going, there's not going to be as many pests, and they're not in the ground, they're elevated in a box. Hey, there's a cat in my garden. I don't have to worry about moles or anything, or any like critters from the ground going after them. So it's just bugs. And in the fall, it's too cool for bugs. I don't think I'll have much of an insect issue. Knock on wood. Now I will, because I've said that. I didn't look into it, because by then I'm like, well, I've already planted them, so it's too late now. And I've literally done like 2 rows of carrots, 2 rows of parsnips, 2 rows of carrots, 2 rows of parsnips. Just like, whatever. I hope that you're having a much better harvest than me. I just think I'm not harvesting a lot just because my garden is so small. Like, all my friends and family who have gardens, all their gardens are significantly bigger than mine. They're getting so much more food. And I'm here like, I'm like the garden nerd. Like, I'm the one they all come to with their gardening questions, and their gardens are seemingly doing better than mine. They're getting more food. Though I think if you like looked at theirs and looked at mine, mine is more beautiful. Like, it looks lush and full. You can see, like, it just looks like a little jungle. You see the beans where some are yellowing. That's the one plant that I'm letting go to seed. Other than that, everything is green and happy, except for that. So I guess the solution to my problems is I need a bigger garden. I need one like 4 times this size. That would be good. Okay, I'm actually going to stop talking now. So, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope your garden is looking absolutely beautiful and your harvest is abundant. And I'll see you again soon. Bye!